If there's one thing you should know about me, it's this. I don't scare easy. But the morning Karen's letter landed in my mailbox, thick, heavy, typed in all caps like she was screaming through the paper. I felt something tighten inside my chest. Not fear, not anger. More like, here we go again. I tore the envelope open as I sat on my porch, the sun just rising over the ridge behind my land. My grandfather bought this property in 1970, but our family's connection to it goes back even further, so far back it's part of the reason. Karen's letter made me laugh out loud. The letter was short, dramatic, and very Karen. To whom it may concern, you have been repeatedly trespassing onto my land. Remove your fence, your tools, and that old water pump. You are in violation, and I will take legal action. I folded the paper, took a sip of coffee, and stared across the field toward Karen's place. She'd only lived here 8 months and had already tried rewriting the entire unwritten rule book of rural living, rules every neighbor here respected long before she ever showed up with her shiny SUV and her "Don't Tread on Me" garden flag, which somehow did not apply to anyone else's boundaries. I walked to the fence line, my fence, built by my great-grandfather in 1912, and sure enough, Karen was outside in her robe, clutching a travel mug like it was a sheriff's badge. She marched toward me. "Did you get my letter?" she demanded, voice sharp enough to slice the morning in half. "Sure did," I said. "Want to talk about it?" "There's nothing to talk about. This is my land." I checked the county map. I smiled politely. "No, you checked the GIS overlay. Those things glitch all the time." Her face tightened. "Are you calling me stupid?" "No, just misinformed." She stepped closer, chin high. "Move your stuff or I'll have the county on you." That was the moment I decided I wouldn't just prove her wrong. I'd teach her a lesson she'd never forget. "Tell you what," I said. "Give me until tomorrow morning. I'll bring something that'll settle this once and for all." She scoffed. "You better, or you'll be sorry." I watched her storm away, her robe flapping behind her like she was some kind of suburban superhero on a mission. But all I could think about was the old metal lockbox hidden under my father's workbench. Inside, it was a document older than everyone in this county combined. A document Karen had no idea even existed, because some boundaries aren't just fences. Some boundaries are written into history, ink pressed into parchment when the government still used eagle stamps and wax seals. And tomorrow morning, Karen was about to learn why you don't mess with people who know their land better than they know their own heartbeat. By sunrise the next morning, I already had the old metal lockbox sitting in the passenger seat of my truck. Dusty, dented, and older than my father's childhood. It looked like something out of a Western movie. And in a way, it was. When I pulled up to the fence line, Karen was already there, arms crossed, sunglasses on even though the sun had barely crested the treetops. She tapped her foot like she'd been practicing impatience since dawn. "Well," she snapped, "did you bring whatever you think is going to change? The fact that you're trespassing?" I set the lockbox on the tailgate and opened it slowly, letting the hinges creak for dramatic effect. Karen craned her neck trying to peek inside. "What is that?" she asked. "Proof," I said simply. I lifted out a thick piece of aged parchment, the edges browned like they'd been kissed by fire. The ink had faded but was still perfectly readable. Across the top in large lettering was the phrase that had protected my family's land for generations. United States Land Patent, 1874. Karen blinked. What is that supposed to mean?" "It means," I said gently, "that before the county ever existed, before any GIS map or subdivision boundary, my family's rights to this land were granted directly by the federal government. Signed by the Secretary of the Interior, filed, recorded, unbroken chain." She stepped closer. "Let me see that." I held it out, watching the shock ripple across her face as she scanned the elegant handwriting. The seal, the signatures, not printed, not replicated, but original. "See here?" I pointed to a line. "That's my great-great-grandfather's name. The patent covers all the acreage between Pine Ridge and the creek. That includes this exact strip you think I'm trespassing on." Karen swallowed hard. "But the county map is an approximation," I finished for her. "Useful but not perfect. When a modern overlay conflicts with a federal land patent, the patent wins every single time. Federal law, She stared at the document as if it had slapped her. Then she tried again, voice trembling but still coated in that stubborn Karen tone. Well, maybe it's outdated. I shook my head. Land patents don't expire. They're the highest title you can hold in the U.S. They can't be revoked, altered, or overridden, and the chain of title follows it. My deed, my surveys, my boundaries, all of them trace back to this. For the first time, Karen looked small. Not defeated, but unsure. The kind of unsure that makes a person reevaluate their entire stance. I folded the parchment slowly and placed it back in the lockbox. Karen, I said calmly, I'm not your enemy. I've lived here my whole life. I help my neighbors, I share my tools, I keep my fence line clean. But if someone challenges me on something my family bled, sweated, and lived on for 150 years, I'm going to stand my ground. She didn't look at me. She just nodded stiffly. And for a moment, the world went quiet. No anger, no accusations, just the weight of truth hanging heavy between us. Little did I know that quiet wouldn't last, because Karen wasn't done, not by a long shot. For the rest of that day, Karen didn't say a word to me. Not a glare, not a sigh, not even her signature huff as she marched past the fence line. Honestly, I figured the whole thing was over. But the truth has a way of pressing on a person until they finally face it. The following afternoon, as I was fixing the latch on my barn door, I heard hesitant footsteps behind me. When I turned, Karen stood there, no sunglasses, no robe, no attitude. Just a woman clutching a folder against her chest like it was armor. "Do you have a minute?" she asked quietly. That was new. "Sure," I said, leaning against the frame. She took a slow breath. "I went to the county office this morning. Wanted to verify what you showed me, and they confirmed everything. The land patent, the surveys, the corrections from when the map got digitized." Her voice wavered. "They said I should be thanking you for even showing me." I nodded. "Good. I'm glad you checked." She looked down at her shoes. "I didn't move here to fight with neighbors. I moved here because city life was suffocating me. Thought maybe a small town would fix things." She swallowed, eyes glassy. "But I guess I brought the city with me." Her honesty surprised me more than her warning letter ever had. "Look," I said, crossing my arms lightly. "Nobody expects you to know everything right away. But around here, we don't jump to conclusions. We talk. We help each other. We respect the people who came before us," she finished softly. "Exactly." She let out a shaky laugh. "I thought everyone was against me. Turns out I just didn't ask enough questions." I motioned for her to follow me to the fence line. The evening sun cast long shadows across the field, making the old wood posts glow like they still remembered the hands that built them. "Karen," I said gently, "this fence isn't just a boundary. It's history. It's family. It's everything we've worked for. So when you questioned it, it felt personal," she whispered. "Yeah." She nodded slowly. "I understand now. And I'm sorry. It wasn't dramatic. It wasn't forced. It was real." Then she surprised me again. Can I help restore this section?" she asked, touching a loose post. "I want to start off right." I smiled. "Yeah, I'd like that." For the next hour, we worked side by side, tightening wires, setting posts, leveling the line, and for the first time since she arrived, I didn't feel tension around her. Just a neighbor, a real one. As the sky turned orange, she stood back and said, "Thank you for not yelling. Thank you for showing me instead." "Sometimes," I said, dusting off my hands, "the best way to teach someone is to let history do the talking." She laughed softly. Well, it definitely shut me up. We shared a silent moment, the good kind, the kind where conflict settles into understanding. And before she left, she turned and said, "If you ever need help with anything, I'm here." That was the moment I realized something important. Boundaries don't divide people. Misunderstandings do. And respe?